Good morning and welcome to today's Talking Cafe Live. I am joined today by Sarah Westlake from Smoke Free Life Somerset. And we're going to be talking about stopping smoking. Smoke Free Life Somerset is a free stop smoking service operating throughout Somerset, and you're 4 times more likely to quit smoking with professional support. And they're here to talk us through what that professional support is. So welcome, Sarah.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us. And being an ex-smoker myself, this is really, if you are an addict, this is going to be so good.
Yes, it's lovely actually that you've been through it, because it's nice that you can bring your experience as well. That is nice. Do you want me to just start off talking about what the service is and what's available for people?
Yeah. So obviously we all know a smoker addicted to those horrible, nasty nicotines. So yeah, what is it then when they come to you? What will they be looking for? What are they? What's out there for them?
Okay, so we know that just knowledge alone is not enough really to elicit behavior change. Often people need that support and that accountability. So that's what we provide for people. It's twofold really. I mean, you obviously have the medication side of things to control the physical withdrawal that people experience when they're stopping smoking. And then you have the behavioral side. So looking at people's triggers and habits and routines and supporting them to change that as well. If people just purely use some medication to help, it doubles their chances of being able to stop. But if you add in the behavioral support as well, then as you mentioned earlier, it's sort of 4 or 5 times more likely that they're going to succeed. So that's what we try to provide for people so that they're more likely to get there. If I talk about the nicotine withdrawal side of it first, everybody experiences that differently. And everybody's smoking is entirely different, and people smoke for different reasons. They smoke different amounts. Some people just smoke in the evenings, some it's all day. Everybody's so different. So when someone first comes to us, we do an initial consultation with them. At the moment, that is over the phone. It used to be all face-to-face. You would come and see us at a clinic and we'd do it face-to-face. But due to COVID, unfortunately, at the moment, we are doing that part over the phone. So people will phone into the service. I think the phone number on the banner that went across a minute ago, or you can pop the phone. That's a good way to get in touch with us, is to give us a call. There we are. That's 1823 number.
Yeah.
So they'll phone in there, book an appointment with one of our advisors, like me, and there's lots of others based all over the county. And we will have an initial consultation to look at whether people have tried before, whether they've had experience with other medications and products before, or whether this is their first time giving it a go. We look at what triggers they're smoking and how much they're smoking and all of those things that are individual to them. And then we would sort of put together a plan from there going forward. We would supply any medication or products that they need for free if they get it from us. And we can supply 12 weeks worth of treatment. We don't give the whole 12 weeks in one go. We tend to just give people a week or 2 to begin with. And then we support them alongside that all the way through. So we can sort of monitor and adapt their products if needs be as we go through. some people, if they've never tried anything before, they might start on a certain product and find that it actually doesn't suit them. And then we'll look at changing and trying something else as they go through their course.
Yeah, I must admit, when I was smoking, that's what I did, is I tried one and then I switched. So
yeah, it's quite common. I mean, and understandably, if you've never tried it before, like, you can kind of go with what you like the sound of and what you think is going to suit you best. But until you start, you know, you might find that actually it's not quite working right for you. But that's our job, is to then support people as we go through. In their first sort of 4 to 6 weeks, we'll support them weekly, either phone call or hopefully getting back to more face-to-face, or we text people. So we've also got a Facebook page for support, and any means of those communication, people can get in touch with us and we support them throughout. So if they are having any issues with it, then we just review it and make any changes that we need to. Do you want me to kind of run through the products that are available? Because I know it was 11 years ago.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, as I say, things will have changed. I mean, even just having Facebook support and things is so much different. So, yeah, would you say what is available out there these days?
Okay. I mean, I love the Facebook group. I think it works so well. Just getting that peer support as well. It's only open to current clients, so you have to be approved to join, and it's only people that are currently in the service. So, and it's all secret, so nobody can see that they're part of that group or what they're posting, which is nice, because some people, family and friends, don't know that they smoke even. So it's
true,
yes. Yeah, we keep it all sort of secretive, so nobody can see that they're even in the group on Facebook. But it's just lovely to get that support from people that are going through the same thing, because as much as we're all there for them, it's nice to have that support of people that are going through it with them as well.
Yeah, they're having the same emotions, the same withdrawals, the same bad tempers and everything else that comes with it.
Exactly. Or you get people that they just, for some bizarre reason, they've just had a really difficult day with it and they've really struggled, and they'll just pop a little post on and say, oh, I'm really struggling today, no particular reason. And it's lovely, like everybody chips in and comments and says, keep going, you know, tomorrow's a new day, and just those words of encouragement.
Yeah. And the worst thing about being a smoker, the one thing I noticed, maybe it was because I wasn't smoking, it seemed a bit more intense, is those that do smoke aren't happy that you're not smoking. They keep trying to say, have one, go, one won't hurt. And it's as if they're resentful of the fact that you're finally making this break. And they do anything to sabotage you.
Yes, I do. I get that a lot.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the time. And I have to sort of say to people, well, think about why they're being like that. It's like, why are they trying to make you have a cigarette and give in? And could it be that maybe your quitting is actually making them feel bad about the fact that they're not? Or
they want to and they haven't been able to.
Yeah. And there's a bit of jealousy there, perhaps.
You don't know.
But I think they say, I don't know if this is still accurate, but it was something like 70% of smokers actually do want to quit. So it may cause a bit of jealousy there if they see someone doing it and they haven't managed to. So yeah, that we do see that quite a lot. And it's another reason I think a lot of people in the early days when they're quitting, they try to avoid other smokers because they don't want to be put in that situation where someone's offering them a cigarette, you know, in the first few weeks. Yes, so I can run you through what's available in terms of products and medication. It's a lot of info to kind of give people in one go. So I'll keep it just very brief. And then if people are interested and they come through the service, we'll go through it with them in a bit more detail at their session. So basically, there's two routes you can go down with it. There is a medication called Champix, which is a course of tablets that you would take over a 12-week period. You start off on a very low dose and it gradually builds over the first couple of weeks. And you continue smoking while that happens. So for the first week or two, you would keep smoking as the Champix gradually kicks in, as it were.
Yeah.
At the moment, there is a national supply issue with Champix, so it's not something that we can get right now. It will be coming back. We just don't have any idea of when. So just bear that in mind. If you're thinking of coming through the service, it's not something that you'd be able to get right now, but possibly in the near future. Fingers crossed, it will come back. It's not something we have any control over, unfortunately. We're just waiting to hear. But it's very different to the other products, like the patches and nicotine replacement and what have you, in that there's no nicotine in it at all. It's like a molecule that sort of mimics nicotine is the only way I can kind of describe it. And it actually populates your nicotine receptors. So in a way, you feel like you've always got a supply of nicotine there. So you don't crave nicotine.
Yeah.
And it also forms, like, this is just my way of describing it. It forms like a coating over your nicotine receptors, which essentially blocks them. So then if you go to smoke while you're taking it, nicotine in your cigarettes doesn't give you the same pleasure that it normally would. So for a lot of people in real life, that means that their cigarettes maybe don't quite taste the same. Perhaps they taste a bit bland, or they even taste quite unpleasant, and they just don't enjoy their smoking as much and don't feel like it's something that they want so much anymore. Now, it's not a miracle cure by any means. I don't want people thinking they're going to take this tablet and ta-da, like they're never going to think about smoking ever again. It still requires quite a bit of willpower, and wanting to do it and determination, but it does help control the sort of physical craving side of it. So that's one. And then the other option is your nicotine replacement. So most people have heard of patches, chewing gum, lozenges. We have a mouth spray, which is like a mist that you spray under your tongue, the side of your mouth. We have the inhalator, which is like a little plastic applicator that you can almost puff on. You sort of put it to your mouth and draw air through it to get.
Yeah, because sometimes it's the missing of the action, isn't it? It's habit.
Yeah. That one's really popular for people that want that's something to do with their hands. And half the time, they're not even puffing on it all the time. A lot of the time, they're just holding it.
Yeah.
It's just for something to, I still do it with pens. Like I sit here, just to have something to have with your hands. So that one's really popular for that. And you can use any combination of any two. I don't know whether it was like that.
No. So we didn't have the inhalators, and you were either or back in the day.
Okay.
But then saying that, you see, back in the day, although I gave up 11 years ago, but I'd been trying to stop smoking many years before that. So
yeah. Nowadays, it's encouraged for people to use two products if necessary. I think they say it increases your success rate by about 35% or thereabouts. So I often get asked, which one's the most successful? Because whichever one's the best, I'll just use that. And I have to sort of say, well, it's kind of personal choice. Like some people like the idea of having gum in their mouth all the time. Some people hate that. Like there's no real difference between them in terms of success rates. But if you use 2, then it does bump it up quite significantly. And we supply all of these products for people, and it's a 12-week course. And they would either come and see us and pick it up, or we'd arrange for them to be able to get it from a pharmacy. If people are housebound and can't get to a pharmacy or to any of our sessions, we can post products to them. So we can get to people that are housebound, and we would just support them over the phone and have our consultations that way. Yeah.
So what happens after 12 weeks?
So after 12 weeks treatment, we can't supply any products or medication beyond that point. With the nicotine replacement stuff, you can buy that in the shops. So I've had a few people that after 12 weeks, they still don't feel quite ready to come off of it completely, and they will maybe buy their own box of gum or something just to keep going. But we are still there for support whenever people need it. So if they want to phone in and just have a kind of a one-off chat with someone, bit of advice or bit of support, they've got the Facebook group still. That is ongoing. We're there for people if they need anything thereafter. But usually sort of by 12 weeks, most people feel okay to sort of go it alone and just put everything into practice and keep it going.
Yeah, no, wonderful.
Yeah. The other thing that we do at face-to-face sessions, which I'm really looking forward to getting back to, like just actually seeing people would be lovely, is we will do carbon monoxide readings for people.
Right, yeah.
So they blow in our little machine and it gives them an idea of their carbon monoxide levels. So it's really good to do at the start while they're still smoking, so they can see what it's like as a smoker.
I remember this. I remember doing mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you see that first reading, it is a bit like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And then you do the second one if you've behaved yourself.
Yeah.
And you think, wow, that was quick.
Yeah.
That was what got me. Yeah. And if you cheat, they know.
Yeah. No.
Yes, that's yeah. I'd forgotten all about doing that until you said it, and I thought, yes. Yeah. Yes, I snuck one halfway through and they knew, and it was the look and my feel of guilt,
Yeah.
I didn't realise they'd tell if I only had one. Yeah. But yeah, I got caught.
People do. As much as I say to people, you're really not doing it for me. Like we're here to do this for you. And if people turn around and say, do you know, I just don't want it enough at the moment, it's just not a priority, I just don't want to do it, absolutely fine. Like, come back to us when you're ready. We ask people to have at least like a 3-month break between treatment courses, but they can come back when they're ready. We know it takes people a few times sometimes to get there, for everything to click into place and it to be the right time and all of that. But doing the reading, it really, people love coming in, blowing in the machine, seeing their reading nice and low. It just gives them like a little boost to keep going for another couple of weeks.
You do. You feel very proud of yourself because you've actually achieved it, because chances are, from a lot of them, it must probably be a second attempt, because the idea was set in the mind and I wanted to do it. Well, no. For health reasons, I knew I had to do it. But the willpower wasn't there. So although the brain was saying, yes, we're going to do this, it's not an option. You really need to do it. You're a sensible adult. You're a sensible person. You can do this. The willpower wasn't there. And I failed, as I say, a couple of times before eventually the penny dropped and it was doable.
Yeah.
And as you say, it was learning that there's no shame. You just didn't manage it that time, rather than failed. And I was told, no, you just didn't do it this time. There'll be another time when you're ready, when you're better prepared.
Yeah.
And I think that's important because, as you say, not everybody will achieve first time because it is a big thing to do, isn't it?
It is. And that's perfectly normal. I don't want people feeling that pressure, that they can't. Some people feel like they can't tell us if they've had one or they've gone back to it. And I don't want people to feel that way. It's perfectly normal in behaviour change of any kind, isn't it? That you can go around, you might get so far and then it's just not the right time for whatever reason. But I think great. Like, we've learned so much. You've gone through the process. You've learned a lot about yourself and where your danger points are and your triggers and what's easy for you and what's not. And you've learned loads, and then you can put all that into your next quit attempt.
Yes, you're right. And it builds. Yes, with some people it has to build, doesn't it?
Yeah. Not everybody gets it right first time. But that's what we're there for. You do get people that come in, it's their first go and everything just clicks and brilliant, and they quit and it seems fairly easy for them. Others, it takes a few times and life happens. You can't.
Yeah, I remember on one of the attempts I was doing, we'd both decided, husband and I both decided, right, we were going to stop smoking. He stopped. Never had anything, no support. He just made his mind up and stopped.
Wow.
And I said, it doesn't count. You smoke cigars, you don't inhale it. As you say, it all depends on, as you say, some people are that strong. Well, it's a bit like dieting, really, isn't it? If it's there, it is something you want to do, isn't it? It's willpower.
Yeah, so, it is, and you can't. It's really, that's what the bit that I love about it, and going through the 12 weeks with people is looking at things to put in place that's going to help them, not just in these first few weeks, but a year down the line when they're at a barbecue and everybody's smoking. Like, what am I going to do to make sure I don't want them to have to be back again in another year. I want them to kind of learn all that stuff now so that they can put that into practice for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, that was my problem. I gave up for 18 months. And I thought, just one won't hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, believe me. You'll cough and you'll choke and you'll never go there again. No, wrong.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
All those nicotine receptors went, wow. And that was it. I was hooked again.
Yeah.
And that was my hurdle because, as you say, I could do it, but it was the longevity, which is why now, even 11 years on, I still sit and think to myself, keep going, girl. You're doing good. Because I can still walk past a nice, freshly lit cigarette and go, and it all comes back. And those little nicotines, they're going, go on. So, the longer it goes, you think you're immune to it. And it is, as you say, both mine, I actually stopped for quite long times.
Yeah.
Fine. But no, it wasn't. And as you say, it was learning that hurdle.
Yeah. Well, exactly. That's exactly what I mean, and you've been through that. So you've got that experience, now it's never just one.
Yeah, it's never going to happen again. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's great. If people have had previous attempts and they've tried before, fantastic. That means that they're even better placed to do it this time because they've done all the learning, they've made the mistakes, and now they know what not to do and what's going to work for them. So, yeah. So hopefully when we get back to doing some more face-to-face sessions, we can bring the carbon monoxide machine back in because that is, I think people like to see that. And it is quick. Like you say, it's a day or two and the carbon monoxide's gone. So it doesn't matter how high your reading is.
And that was the shock, I think, because as you say, And I was told, the nicotine receptors, if you don't smoke, you can actually kill them off quite quickly. The nicotine cravings can go as well, can't they? So as you say, as time goes on, the nicotine, it's just as you say, if you're associating or in circles, even passive smoking, those little horrible little things just keep waving at you.
Yes. So your receptors will eventually, like you say, they'll lie dormant. So they will slowly close down over. Well, the reason most of the medication courses are 12 weeks is because it can take up to 10 to 12 weeks for that to happen. They'll slowly shut down. And then they just sort of lie dormant, but they're always there. They never go away. So that's why it only takes that one cigarette and they're all wide awake again, going crazy. And that's why it's so easy to fall back into it, So it is, we do try, and I think people must think that we're crazy, the amount we go on about do not even have one. Like, once you've done it, don't even have a puff on one. And like, okay, but you think there's only one cigarette you don't need to have, and it's that first one. And if you can just not, you'll be fine. Like, but yeah, it's easier said than done though, isn't it? But that's what we're here for, the support. Yeah, it is. And people know what to do. A lot of people know what they got to do, but it's having someone on your side, and that's what we're there for, is to provide that accountability and just someone to talk to.
And supporting you. Because you say it is a turmoil when you're going through it. You're depriving yourself of something that the body's that's craving. Your behavior changes. And as you say, it's your habit. There's my cup of tea, the cigarettes.
Yes.
I'm going out socially, all the friends are nipping out for their cigarette.
Yeah.
Do I go with them? No, stay indoors.
Yeah.
Scar and as you say, it's it is that breaking of that habit, isn't it? Of normal routine.
Especially if you smoke for a long time and your whole life has revolved around smoking, and people have such ingrained routines throughout their day. Like you say,
I smoked for over 30 years.
Yeah.
So it was really, it was socially acceptable when I started smoking. Everybody smoked.
Yeah.
So as you say, it was. We didn't even have to leave the room to have your cigarette. I was part of the awful era where you smoked in the house, you smoked in the pub.
In the doctor's surgery, even. Yeah.
I gave birth and then asked for one. Didn't smoke for 9 months, but as soon as I'd given birth, what would you like? I went, cup of tea and a cigarette. And husband, you don't smoke. I said, I was pregnant. So to say it never, because I could smell it.
Yeah. And that was what was done. So then suddenly trying to break literally the habit of a lifetime requires a lot of support, encouragement. Yeah.
And I was that person. And to say, yes, I can say thank you, because as you say, it's now a done deal.
Yeah. And it takes time. It's not going to disappear overnight. So I think for a lot of people, it's about being realistic with their expectations as well. I don't want people to think that they're going to wake up the next day and because they've got a patch on, they're never going to think about smoking ever again. Like, that's not realistic. You are going to have days where it pops in your mind and it's right, okay, what are we going to do when that happens to distract you, take your mind off of it, and it will pass. But being prepared for it and knowing that these things will happen, and there will be things that trigger you to think about it, whether it is your cup of tea or after a meal or when you get in the car, like whatever it is. You've almost got to rebuild some new routines so that then it doesn't mean that having a cup of tea means that you've got to have a fag as well. Yeah.
So if we do a quick, so we've covered bad habits, we've covered
Yeah.
meds. Is there anything else?
I think the best course of action for people is if they want to get involved, just give us a ring. We've got a website that they can visit with more info. But just give us a call. And even if they don't want to come along right now, it might be that they could just have a one-off chat with one of us just to get a bit more information.
Yeah,
just ask
yeah.
some questions.
So, quick recap on how much does it cost?
Oh, okay. So it is free for everybody. Even if you pay for your prescriptions, if you get your medication through us, it is free. If you get it on prescription from your doctor and you pay for your prescriptions, there would be a prescription charge. But coming through us and we can supply it directly, then it's free for everybody.
Right. I was going to say who can access it. So anybody and everybody?
You have to be living in Somerset, and you have to be currently smoking. Like, we can't help people getting off of vapes or anything like that. You have to be actually using tobacco products of some kind. And just to be willing to kind of set a quick date in the first couple of weeks, really, of contacting us. So we'd start you off and you'd be quitting in the first few weeks. It's not going to be a year down the line, that's it, really. Yeah.
And then after the first 12 weeks, you are still available for support should it be needed.
Yeah.
And medication will stop, but they're quite, they can go out if they need to, feel the need still, and purchase their own.
Yeah. I mean, very rarely.
That sort of rounds it all up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very rare that needs to, because hopefully if we've done our job right, they should be getting to the end of their 12 weeks and feel ready to not need it anymore. But
when if they get a bad day, give you a buzz.
Yes.
Talk it through.
Yeah, of course. We're more than happy to do that.
So, that is wonderful. And I'm hoping we're going to, when this, because we are doing this, we're pre-recording this, because we had our record before we went live every day. But now we're getting back face to face. The time of the agents now is more out in the field. So we've reduced our number of Talking Cafe lives, because we're also back into the talking cafes, that are on the high street or in the libraries, depending on where you live, as to where they're being held. Great. So when this goes out, just to let people know that please do put your comments in, do ask your questions, because the ones we can answer, we will. The ones we can't, we will get over to Sarah and her team, and we will do everything we can to get your questions answered and get you there for that support.
If I'm around when it goes live, I'll try and be on your page, and then I can answer any questions.
This is going out on I want to say Wednesday the 29th.
Okay.
September at 1:00.
All right. So if I'm not in clinic or anything, I'll try and be around, and then I can be in the comments if needs be.
That would be lovely. And thank you very much. It's been lovely talking to you. And as I say, if we can be of any help, do let us know. And we hope to see you again to put it back out there and reiterate everything we've just said.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye. That's me saying goodbye, and we'll see you again, same place, same time, Wednesdays, 1:00, Talking Cafe Live. Bye-bye.